Today, we are talking about independent gay men, specifically looking at how to let people in, how to need others, how to ask for support. I chose this topic literally yesterday, as Matt knows, because I had three different client sessions this week where this pattern came up. One was a guy in his 30s whose boyfriend was moving in, and he's having a lot of thoughts and feelings about letting his boyfriend move in. Another guy he's very well established. He's in his 70s. He's now wanting, after years of being happily single, he's now wanting to let love in and let someone in. And he's having a really hard time with that. And then another guy is in his 50s, and he's just got this underlying belief that I shouldn't be asking for help. Even with coaching, he has a really hard time believing that he should be asking for help and needing coaching. So three different guys, three different scenarios. I figured let's talk about it on this podcast because there's a lot of the same patterning here. So before we get into this, I want to give us some language around dependence and independence and that spectrum in relationships. These words get used a lot, not always accurately. So I want to give everyone here a quick summary just to level set. Okay. So think of it as a spectrum from dependence to independence. On the one hand, we have dependence, which is when you need someone to help you function. You rely on them for basic needs and emotional support. Most obvious example here, a child depends on their parents, right? Also, in adult relationships, it's okay to depend on your partner sometimes. Like, let's say, for example, you break a leg or you're going through something in your life that's very emotional. It's okay to depend on them from time to time. The extreme of that is codependence, a word that gets used a lot, which is when you lose yourself trying to keep the other person. You completely self-abandon. You abandon yourself, your values, your needs, just to keep that person in your life. And then you end up relying on them for your sense of worth and identity. And your mental and emotional life is very much enmeshed in their actions, behavior. Everything they say and do has an impact on you, a deep impact on you. Okay. That's on the dependent side. We won't spend too much time there today. On the other end is independence. Okay. There's just regular independence where you've just got your shit handled. You can rely on yourself. You're self-sufficient. It's a healthy autonomy. Okay. You don't rely on others. You're good. The extreme of that is hyper independence. On this show, we've called it lone wolf, which is almost like a refusal to rely on others at all. Like needing others elicits some kind of fear, usually a fear of vulnerability or fear of being let down, but it's motivated by fear and can lead to isolation. Okay. And then there's that happy, healthy middle ground that we sometimes forget about, which is interdependence. That is, I'm solid on my own and I can let myself in or I can let other people in without losing myself, right? So in a relationship, you want to think of this as two self-sufficient people who choose to rely on each other and can balance their personal autonomy with mutual support when they need it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm remaining my own person, but I'm very comfortable letting someone in and giving and receiving love and support from them. Okay. Today's episode, we're not focusing on the codependent, independent too much. We're really talking to the guys who land on that independent or hyper independent lone wolf kind of side. Okay. To be honest, I don't know if this is just me, but I see a lot of guys who don't just who say they're independent, but actually they overshoot it into that lone wolf or hyper independence. Mm-hmm. And so needing someone doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it's scary and almost feels wrong. And that's the situations I had this week with these three different clients, very different situations, but it wasn't just uncomfortable, it was scary for them in all three of those situations to let someone in, literally letting someone move into their house, letting them be loved, all these different ways. So the question is, how can you go from hyper independence or independence to interdependence, that happy, healthy medium, without letting yourself swing into dependence or losing yourself completely? Okay. Now, even if you're not on that side of the spectrum, let's say you're more of a codependent, interdependent, or dependent, right? You probably know someone who is independent or hyper independent, maybe even your partner, right? So this will be useful for you either way because it can help you in how you relate to those people in your life who maybe are more independent.